Early podcast brought to you by my existential angst at holy fuck, what are you people doing to all of this?
Welcome to the Upside Down, motherfuckers.
Oh, jeez. It's like, look, you had one job. Don't fuck it up worse than 2020 already had, and yet here we are.
Well, like, dude, I told you, we've been in the middle of a revolution for a long time. Revolutions end in blood or not. I would have preferred not. Clearly, that's not the path we've chosen. It is what it is.
So yeah, I've been in this debate because, like, obviously, I do not want personal property destroyed, yada yada yada, all of that. That's a given. At the same time,
I don't want brown children bombed too, but that shit happens every day.
Right. Well, for me, it's like I'm Scottish. We burnt our country to the ground, our own country to the ground to get the English to fuck off.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
The Dutch flooded theirs. So I obviously want the best. I donated to one of those GoFundMe's for like the guy, the bar owner in Minneapolis, you know.
Yeah.
Help out the little people that were hurting this. Like, let's band together and do that, definitely.
Sure.
But man, it's really hard for me to feel sorry for a company like Target that, you know, that they've been, like, I looked it up. They donated $20,000 last year to the Republican Party of Minnesota.
Didn't they got what they had coming to them?
It's like, and I don't want this to be like my political opponents need to have their donors attacked. No, I am sure that the Republican Party of Minnesota was backing all of these.
When you support policy that causes minorities to be murdered in mass by police, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's...
I have no sympathy. No sympathy. Do better. Be smarter. Stop aiding and abetting in the murder of citizens. Yeah, I warned you guys. Like, I have no non-cuss words to say right now.
You did warn us.
Like, none.
But, so, on the flip side of this, though, I do want to talk about something else, and I think Dre's going to be able to talk about this a lot better than I am, because I think you've paid attention to this situation more. Can you talk about what happened in Omaha and why we're now kind of ground zero for protests?
Yeah. Dish, mama.
You know, I honestly don't want to talk about it. It's a really hot subject here in Omaha, and it's not something I want to speak about.
Okay.
It's not safe always to speak about things.
It's not. And I have a family, and it's not something I can talk about.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think of like describing the situation, but depending on how you describe it.
Tim Pool did a video.
Yeah.
Check out Tim Pool's video. He just put it up the other day.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Guys, shit is crazy all over. It is. It's crazy all over. And like...
Hey, Mercedes.
I guess one of my biggest bitches is I'm hearing so much fucking chatter on social media and in the community about all of this violence for one man. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, do you motherfuckers live under goddamn rocks? For one man? No. No. Wake up. I just can't, dude. And now we've got a president ordering active duty military to enter states. And we're going to be in situations where we have state National Guard on one line and active duty military on another line. And people don't see a fucking problem with that. I can't fucking even.
Yeah, I think I don't think they've thought that through. but there's going to be states where the National Guard will not support the actions of the federal government if they send in soldiers. You could, I don't know why I didn't think about that, but you could genuinely get military weapons on both sides.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, any active duty soldier who follows those orders and enters in, you're a fucking traitor. And you violated your oath.
Yep. It's more than it's deeper. There's a tradition in military thought.
Holy shit.
About the fact that the people are the ones where our oath belongs, not the government.
Not the government,
and
not
it doesn't
a flag.
matter if you're left wing or right wing in the military. That's deep.
Like, if you didn't come out with that, you're more fucked up than anybody else I know. And everybody I know who's a veteran is fucked up in some way. But if you didn't come out with at least that understanding, God, there's no hope for you. I just... You know, we've been talking for, what, a year about the boog?
Yeah.
Welcome to the boog, motherfuckers. This is how this shit happens. And yeah, stop fucking tearing up people's private property. I mean,
yeah.
If it's a government building, I have a different view on that.
Right.
Take that shit out.
Separate things.
I'm going to tell you right now, if a motherfucking cop kills me because he held his knee to my neck for 8 minutes, you burn that fucking precinct down. Burn down every precinct. Fine. But somebody's home? Fuck no.
Yeah, I was seeing videos out of California where they were going down the suburbs and trying to break into people's houses while they were
Those
in
are
there.
some scary fucking
So
videos.
here's the reality, though. Look.
And those people don't have guns. They're in California. They can't defend themselves.
There is a segment of every society that is opportunistic and parasitic. And we all know it. And that segment will take advantage of any situation that they can to do fucked up shit.
Yep.
It does not discount the protests. It does not mean that the protests are not valid. It does not, none of that. It's not a dichotomy.
And look, there's proven videos, verified accounts where you have black protesters begging white, look, Antifa, it's who they are, it's Antifa, going through, busting windows. One of them was a Five Guys. I was deeply offended because Five Guys is like my jam. And
look, like I hate when we use that term.
This black woman crying, trying to get them to stop, and they're just
right. But you've got to, if you're going to use the term Antifa, you've got to differentiate, because I am anti-fascist. If you're not anti-fascist, I'm not sure we're on the same team.
Right. I'm not going to let them play the language trick, though. Antifa is an organization or a mindset.
Clarify that.
Yeah, and I refuse to get too in the weeds with that, because it's like I'm not letting you take over, like letting them. It doesn't
mean that anybody who says Antifa, the organization, is not a good organization. The people that say that are not all pro-fascist. They're not. Mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Are we?
Somebody asked, "What if it's government housing?" Leave it the fuck alone. People live there.
Right. It's somebody's private property.
Somebody's house.
The building that burned down was not completed, so less bad, but still, like, come on, that I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that's like, that image is incredibly powerful, and no one got hurt doing it. So I don't. There's the emotional part of
Antifa is not the only one vandalizing everything and beating the crap out of people. Let's get honest. We watched a police officer in Minnesota set fire to an auto zone. Don't tell me that's Antifa. That's a fucking cop. We're watching cops kill people and shoot people. Rubber bullets were designed to be shot at the ground so that they bounce up and deflect and cause disbursement. They were never designed to be fired at anyone point blank, and those cops fucking know it. Don't put it all on Antifa. Yes, Antifa is absolutely responsible for a whole bunch of this, but don't put it all on them. That's not fair. Paint the whole picture, not just a part of it that suits your fucking agenda.
There's a lot of bad actors in this, and there's
a whole lot.
I think it's weird because there's a lot of good actors in this too, and there's allies that like aren't natural allies that are finding themselves on the same side because
we've had medic units at these protests attacked by police officers. Medic units.
City councilmen.
Children sitting at a bus stop, not even part of the fucking protest, trying to get home.
That woman that was getting groceries and caught a rubber bullet to the face.
Yeah. Don't try that shit.
She'll be fucked up forever, dude. Like, her face is
journalist missing eyes. Fucking Ford Fisher got shot. If he hadn't had his goggles, he'd be missing an eye.
I saw that. It's too much.
We had people at the protest in Oklahoma City. Started as a peaceful protest, a Black Lives Matter protest. They had it at one location. Other people who showed up are saying, hey, the protest is moving this way. Black Lives Matter had no intention for it to move, but it did move. And as it's moving, following whoever this other group was, right, which nobody has really identified yet, a bunch of people break off and start vandalizing buildings. And then we see a group twice as large break off behind them and pull extra masks and hand sanitizer out of their backpacks to clean up the vandalism. So are you going to paint everyone involved in that protest as a bad actor? Because that's what I'm seeing, and that's fucking bullshit. Grow up.
Sanj, I hope I'm saying that right.
Yep.
Shooting journalists isn't the best way to say, hey, we're trying to calm the situation.
Shooting anybody is not how you calm a fucking situation.
And look, you can see it in Columbus. Chrissy was out there recording them like the whole time. They were doing the bullshit macing tactics the herding and all of that shit the first 3 nights, and they were getting just massive pushback. They changed their tactics on the 4th day and started disengaging with people, and suddenly the violence is out of the protest.
Max, that's disingenuous. You've got longtime LP members proudly admitting that they're anti-fascist. When they're saying Antifa, they're saying anti-fascist. They're not claiming membership in some group. Nonsense.
Ignore him, Erin. Come on.
Fucking Jesus Christ. Nice. Some motherfuckers suffer for an abundance of stupid.
That's me right now.
Look, if you're going to go to a protest, let's talk about protest safety, because for a lot of you, protests of these type are new, right? You've never seen this shit. And it's new to you. So being safe at a protest is really important. Go get yourself some swim goggles, right? Really important. Protect your eyes, 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 protect your eyes. Yep. Water jugs.
Milk.
Really important. And if you can't find small containers of milk to keep in your backpack, go get a milk-based infant formula. The ones in the pull tops. The little shelf-stable ones, because those will work. Also, sour cream will work. Cottage cheese will work. Yogurt will work. Anything dairy-based.
Oh, God, it'll make me puke.
It's nasty, but it works, right?
I would rather die than put cottage cheese in my face.
Dude. Well, here's the other thing. Like, for me and you, people are like, man, the CS gas is intense. No shit.
Okay, pause. No, I have to say this as loudly and publicly as possible.
The gas chamber didn't bug me, man.
Look, I get there's a ton of fucked up things going on in these protests, focusing in on CS gas is banned in war is a dumb thing to say because anyone who's been in the military is gonna laugh at you because I bathed in that shit.
Yep.
That ain't shit. I'm a pussy, and everyone knows I'm a pussy, and I thought it wasn't shit.
Well, and part of the reason
start with this.
Part of the reason that CS gas is banned in wars because when you get a big concentration of it, especially in a building, it's highly flammable. So you get this big concentration, somebody shoots it, it's a bomb, right? That's why it's not banned in war because it fucks you up, right? It's banned in war because it's highly flammable and explosive. When it shouldn't be.
That does mean fuck you if you use it in an enclosed building that isn't like a training chamber.
Right. So, look, if you've never experienced CS gas, but you have ever experienced getting hot sauce, like right here on your lip, you know that burning feeling? All of you will feel like that very intensely. That's what CS gas feels like. It's nasty. It stinks. But you can get it off.
When I was in the chamber, I was basically dragging the person in front of me out because they were just dying, and the person behind me is like hanging off of the back of my armor.
I have a great gas chamber story. Do you guys want to hear it?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So at Fort Jackson, when I was there, about 10 feet outside the door, the exit door, was a tree. I'm told that they have since removed it. They should have removed it a long time ago because it caused all kinds of trouble. So we go in and they tell us on our way in, upon exiting the building, because you enter one side and then you exit out the back, right? Upon exiting the building, do not run. There is a tree outside of the door. We all know it. So what you have to do is you go in, you have to break the seal, you have to put your mask on, prove that it's sealed, right? They release the gas, you have to break the seal. Different people go through different experiences there. For us, you had to recite your general orders. You had to say the alphabet to prove that you had broken the seal and been exposed. Then you reseal your mask and you wait. Once you get a good seal, they tap you on the shoulder. You can exit, right? In, out, no big deal. And then they feed you chili mac. I don't know why it's always chili mac, but it's always fucking chili mac in the Army because they hate us. So one of the soldiers who was standing there, whose name I'm not going to give out because she may be watching. I don't know. If you're watching, yeah, I'm talking about you. It was funny. I'm sorry. The shit was funny. Resealed her mask and puked.
Oh!
So she pukes all in her mask. So the only thing she can think of is I have to fucking get out of this chamber so I can pull this mask off. So she goes running right into the tree. Tree into the mask filled with puke into her face and passes out.
Oh, God.
And we were horrible battle buddies because we're all standing there going, love you, dude, but like, I don't want to touch that, right? So the drill sergeant had to come break her mask and wipe all that away and flip her over on her side. Yeah. Yeah, and then we picked on her about it. We did. But, I mean, that's barracks life. Everybody gets a nickname. Some of them aren't kind. This is true.
I actually hated chili mac.
Did they just put chili and mac and cheese? Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's nasty. Ugh. It's still better than that fucking the scrambled egg MRE.
Oh, the vegetarian omelet.
Vegetarian omelet, yeah. That was bad.
Oh God, I never ate it. I cooked it once and smelled it, and I'm like, nope. But I only
you
ever
got
it
heaters?
twice.
We didn't get heaters.
In the
No
MRE?
warm MREs for us. MREs did not used to come with heaters. It was cold. You opened the bag, you grabbed a spoon, and you dug in. The only one that was edible was the ham slice. That's it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's bad.
I would have died of starvation.
I mean, you could still, no, because you could still eat Ranger bars and the dehydrated fruit. That stuff gotcha. Peanut butter.
Jalapeno cheddar.
Yeah, that was pretty decent. And the little bottles of Tabasco.
I hated jalapeno cheddar, so every time I got it, I was able to trade it for like basically anything I wanted.
Those little bottles of Tabasco, to this day, I eat Tabasco sauce on damn near everything.
My dad's like that too. I hated
it.
Because he had it as when I was a kid, I hated it, so I never did that in the military. That and like, I was air defense, so we rarely had to use MREs for anything.
Look, with enough Tabasco sauce, you can hide the shitty taste of anything, and if you can just get used to the Tabasco sauce flavor, you're good. Yeah, see, veggie omelet's gross. I used to like when we get hot A meals in the field. Like every field training, one day toward the end of the field, you'd get the hot stuff. Oh, charms! Holy shit!
I don't know what charms are.
I don't know if you guys still had them. When I was getting out, they were instituting all kinds of new shit. I mean,
yeah.
We would take the little Sanka coffee packets and you'd shake them so they'd and tap them so they'd be condensed about half full, and then you open it up real careful and you dump one sugar packet and one creamer packet in it, carefully fold it over and flick it, and then you open it up and shoot that and hit it with a shot of water. And now I'm seeing all these young people use instant coffee to do these like coffee whip things, and I'm like, dude, that's like military torture, and y'all bought in.
So,
we do have a guest tonight. You guys are going to dig our guest.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Oh, yeah. Elfie's messaging me that a vegetarian omelet is barfing a food pig.
Pretty much.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Pretty much.
Dude, yeah. So I always thought that I would hate like the Hot Army breakfast, but Philip's right, dude. I don't know why they were amazing, but they always were.
Breakfast was the only meal that was good. And there was a lot of it, right? Think back to the variety.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Eggs to order, omelets, pancakes, grits, oatmeal, all kinds of fruit, 4 or 5 different kinds of meat, cheese.
Ham and cheesy eggs is what
Holy
AIT
shit.
wanted. Dude, AIT for air defenders was heaven for food. Like, we got to eat in the Air Force DFAC.
Dude.
Well, it was weird because everyone actually really liked our unit's cooks. Had like this little tent defect over by our command center, and you would think that this little tent one wouldn't be as good, but these were 3 gentlemen of proper ethnic descent for this, from Alabama and Mississippi, and it was the best fucking soul food you can fucking imagine.
Fried chicken.
Oh,
remember the bread
so
pudding?
good.
The fucking bread pudding. Amazing bread pudding. Every military base I was ever on had amazing bread pudding.
One of the jobs that we could get, like when we were in our 3-day rotations, was to go do dishes at that DFAC, and so that's what everyone would want to do, because you'd basically just be picking out.
You'd eat all day.
Yeah, and
man.
I had to specifically be like, look, I am not trying to shirk my duties here, but you've seen that place, and I'm overweight, and you're trying to get me to lose weight. I don't think this is a good idea. And my platoon sergeants were like, you're correct. We are not going to send you over there.
Did you get... we had cleanup detail at Chesapeake Bay once, which was really horrific.
Philip's right. The DFAC by the 88 training barracks is the best. Oh, so good.
Once you get into
fat, guys.
Man, once you get into AIT, food's different, right? Like I ate breakfast at the chow hall, and then every other meal on the Economy or at the rec center, because it was burgers. I lived on burgers. And I'm pretty sure they microwaved them, but it was still better than what you were getting at the chow hall.
You know, at Benning, for basic, the food was actually really good. I never had, like, the only time I ever had any complaints would be if they just didn't cook something that I liked. But there was almost always baked chicken, if nothing else.
Yeah, you could always get that baked chicken.
Yeah. And look, if you're in the military, especially basic training, running that hard, you need at least a piece of baked chicken every day.
You need protein and carbs. Protein and carbs.
Geez.
Baked chicken and spaghetti. Those are the safe bets.
God, I wish I could get down to that right as I hit AIT weight again.
Oh, dude. When I got home from AIT, I weighed more than I've ever weighed in my life, not pregnant. But I wore the smallest pant size I've ever worn in my life. I was in a 00.
I mean, you've seen that picture that I've got where my shoulders are like bigger than my fucking head.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And look, for all of you veterans who are out of shape, it's time to get back in shape because the shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah, it's a terrible time for me to be hitting like my all-time high.
Yeah, dude, you need to start working out. I'm gonna have to quit smoking.
Yeah, so part of like you see I'm in a different place. I've condensed my room down and turned my get up. I want to take that part of the room and actually start putting like some weight equipment over there because I'm never gonna do a lot of cardio. It's just not in me. But I'll throw heavy weights around like a motherfucker.
I'm a big fan of a jump rope.
I'm not that coordinated.
Like a rope will get you in shape quick.
I am not that
I
coordinated.
like yoga and Pilates and weight training.
I like
Not that I
Elfie
can-
doing yoga.
I can only pick up, the little tiny ones, but yeah, I'm not built. for cardio
Lindsay
either.
says, "Fuck it, I'm just shooting." We were talking about that.
Yeah, I gotta work out though to pick up all my guns.
Like, look, I'm telling you,
Shit's heavy.
the way to go is we sit on my porch with a case of Tannerite and a case of frisbees and a whole bunch of rounds for a long rifle, and we pack each frisbee with Tannerite, and we yell pull, and Raptor throws, and everybody else shoots, and there goes any insurgent. Like, that's how we do it.
So I want to point something out because I don't know why this just popped up. You were talking about Tannerite, and I was thinking explosives. Chrissy posted a picture the other day of a cop that almost maced her. And as she was backing away, it wasn't a picture, it was a short video. I was looking at his gun, and I'm like, that's one, not a gun. I'm like, is that a fucking noob tube? And after I had to explain what that was.
Which you should probably do because we probably have people watching who don't know.
I don't
Okay.
know.
So a noob tube, for most weapons, it's the grenade launcher on the bottom of like your M16 or M4.
Right.
This was like just that's all it was, and it was chambered. So it would be like a revolver shooting grenades, which in this case, I'm really hoping was
Gotta be CS.
grenades. Right. Hopefully. Just like, we didn't have cool shit like that in the Army for the most part. How the fuck does
you
this
gotta
guy
throw
have?
that shit. You ever thrown a grenade, Dre?
Mm-mm.
I almost failed basic because I didn't throw the grenade right the first time.
I can
There
throw a
are more
softball.
training accidents from people who can't throw a grenade. They're
Yeah,
heavy.
M203, yep.
Oh.
So you got to throw it and get it a ways away from you because you don't have far to run before the bitch blows up.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody has to throw a live grenade to graduate.
So any of you guys in the chat that are talking weapons here, what would that weapon be if it's just the grenade launcher itself and there's no other components? If anyone knows. Like, man, that's like, out of a launcher like that, if you peg someone in the head and this guy was not being careful about how he was pointing this thing, it could kill.
Oh, yeah. Look, any projectile can kill. We all remember Brandon Lee, right? Projectiles kill people. People die every year from falling icicles. Icicles kill people. They fall off the roof, go through your head, you're dead. Projectiles can kill people. Again.
When this episode started, I remembered I had a box of nerds over here. And I'm just like, every couple of seconds, I'm like, I really want those nerds, but everyone makes fun of me for eating them on the stream.
Philip says he still thinks it's a 203.
Okay. And yeah. That's man, I don't want cops having 203s, man. That scares the shit out of me.
I will tell you though, and I know there are a lot of people watching who are SCAers, and I'm really disappointed in the shield work I'm seeing from these cops, man. Like it is grade school shield work, and they need to show up at SCA fighting practice and learn how to handle a fucking shield.
Hey, Klein, thanks, man.
Thanks,
Coming in
man.
with that 420 donation.
Thank you.
Look, if you're going to a protest, protect your eyes, protect your face, wear a mask of some kind. Gas masks are best. Even if it's your bong gas mask, that shit will still work. Protect your eyes, wear the mask. Do not let them herd you because they will try to herd you. And if they can get you all combined into one small space, now you're sitting ducks, right? They're shooting fish in a barrel. Don't let them hurt you. Make sure somebody knows where you're at. Make sure somebody knows when you're leaving and when you expect to be back. Turn on the GPS locator on your phone.
Share your location with a family member.
Yep.
You know, that's what we do.
You got to do that. You got to do that. Don't go by yourself. If you're going to go by yourself, make a buddy real quick.
Yeah.
Be careful where you keep
at your protest.
Yeah, and be careful where you keep your money, your identification, your credit cards, your car keys, right? If you're keeping them in a backpack, a lot of times those backpacks get wrangled off of you if you're thrown to the ground or they get lost in a scuffle. Really, you want to keep that shit attached to your body, if at all possible.
Get yourself a Molly vest or something to wear under your shirt.
Yeah, and layers.
Pouches.
Layers. I know it's hot out there, people, but dressing in layers will help. Pepper balls hurt.
A camelback.
Some damage. A camelback's a good idea. Really comfortable shoes. Make sure you have an extra pair of socks. Keeping your feet dry is really, really important, especially if you're walking and running. You're going to be out there a long time. Foot funk is nothing to joke with. It just isn't. Stay hydrated. All things that are important if you're going to protest, especially these types of protests. And I know that for a lot of people, this type of protest is really new.
If you're trying to promote the party, get your face in front of cameras. We've had a lot of libertarians get into some interviews, like Oscar got into one. And
yeah, those necklace ID carriers are good. Yeah, wear your LP t-shirt.
Yeah, don't do things that'll make us look bad if you're going to wear the t-shirt, though.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're going to wear the t-shirt, man, wear your MAGA hat. If you're going to do stupid shit, wear a MAGA hat. Don't wear an LP t-shirt.
Yeah. Go false flag. That'll be great. So I'm sitting here thinking...
Ideally, though, just don't do stupid shit, right? Go out and help people.
You want to have a laugh? I'm sitting here trying to, like, flick this hair off the screen because it's driving me crazy. It's actually the cord on Erin's... headphones.
Oh my god!
You know what? I picked these up today and they're super cheap, but I got them because those other headphones I have that are so cool, the really pretty, sparkly, rhinestoney ones, are super fucking uncomfortable. So these are cheap, but they're comfortable.
Of course.
And they fold up, so I'll be able to travel with them.
Oh, I thought you were sending the link at 8:15.
Oh.
Sorry to our guest.
Jesus.
It's been a shit week, man.
Yeah, I'm not all there. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%. That's just the way it is.
Look, too, if you're a veteran and you're watching, call a battle buddy, check on them, see how everybody's doing. Touch base. People are not doing well right now. Touch base. And if you need an ear and you don't still have a battle buddy, you reach out to us. We're here.
Okay, here's our guest. Sorry, man.
Hey, Andy. Sorry. We're slackers.
I mean, I can't judge.
Look, if y'all don't know Andy, you should. And we're here hoping that we're going to be able to help you get to know Andy.
Yes, I had the opportunity to host him at Titfaced a couple weeks ago, and 1 hour was clearly not enough to talk to you. You have so much information, and I want to hear more about what you have to say. So yeah. I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm, glad to be here. And it's true that I tried to leave like some time for questions at the end, and I was trying to fly through everything. I knew that there's just too much to say. I mean, if you're trying to paint an accurate picture of what veterans go through and what how the system isn't helping us, and then how we can take it upon ourselves to fight back a little bit.
So Doc, tell our viewers a little bit about you, a little bit about what your life's work is, about what your personal mission is, and hopefully we'll get a bunch more people interested in helping accomplish that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Well, okay, so first of all, I'm down here in Texas in the dirty South, and it's so dirty. We're still dirty, right? We live in draconian age laws, and I don't know where everybody is respectively, but, I get to travel around the country and I get to go to places, go to Colorado and other places where you can walk into the dispo and get whatever kind of meds you need. And we live in Texas. So I started working in law reform at the Capitol in Austin in 2000. Well, back in 2016, before the legislative session in 2017, trying to get cannabis legalized in Texas. And that's still my main goal and my main fight. However, along the way, I picked up a fight for other plant medicines and other modalities that we can use to start working. And in the meantime, science is catching up with thousands of years of indigenous people knowledge, and we're coming a long way. And so with that being said, plant medicine, psychedelic healing, some of these modalities that have been labeled as Schedule I drugs for so long by the FDA and DEA now are being brought to light. And I mean, everybody knew they had insane therapeutic power, but they cut the research off, back in the 70s with the Nixon administration, and it's remained cut off ever since. So we're just trying to fight back.
So Doug, let's talk about that. How much, I mean, you're watching the news, you're seeing what's going down. We've read studies for years that are saying that most Americans are walking around suffering from some form of PTSD, right? So then we go into these lockdowns with the virus, and then this other horrible event happens, a triggering event, right? The straw that broke the camel's back. How much of this reaction, and I realize you probably don't have an accurate statistic, but just a little bit or a lot, right, is okay.
Sure.
Do you think it is because of PTSD that Americans are suffering from, and they're just frustrated and done and begging for a solution here?
Well, I mean, the answer to that is lies in the understanding of epigenetics, right? And that's the thing that a lot of people just really haven't wrapped their mind around, is how your genetics, we all understand genetics, that we're born with it, and you get half of it from your mom and half of it from your dad, theoretically. And they think that that's just where it lies. But science is proving that your DNA changes over time. And I mean, if you can be exposed to a chemical that can change your DNA in a way that makes you grow a tumor, then you can be exposed to other things that change your DNA in other ways. So that understanding is given, that we now understand trauma is being handed down generation after generation after generation. I only have a bachelor's degree, but if I ever went back to school and wrote some sort of dissertation, I really always said it would be on how much trauma has been handed down from the Civil War. That literally has never actually been dealt with. And I mean, I've been talking about this all day, because we as a country didn't deal with it. We actually did the opposite. We were like, okay, fine, we know it's wrong, but we'll put you here, and we'll go over here, and we'll put the blinders up and pretend like it never existed. And you're still seeing the remnants of that right now. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I couldn't put fact to that, but if you can't still feel and see the racial division in this country, statistically, whether it exists, that's a big debate and all these different things. But and that stuff doesn't matter to people. Like, if you're growing up in an environment where you felt oppressed your whole life, that's gonna carry forward. That's epigenetics. So actually, psychedelics are a good way to fight back against those processes and that neural wiring that happens over time, and these negative impulses that start developing. And so many people have just leaned in to the psychotropic SSRIs and antidepressants that you can just literally see the cognitive dissonance going on. Like, nobody is wanting to connect to one another and really get to understand what the root of the problem is. And until you start putting yourselves around other people that don't look like you and talk like you and act like you and carry your same point of view, and then be able to find common ground with those people, then we're going to continue just to stay divided, not deal with these issues.
So how do psychedelics help folks with trauma? I've heard a lot of people say, doing a a typical dose is like a hard brain reset. I've also heard a lot of benefits to microdosing.
Yeah, I think it's really important that everybody understands that, like, the reset aspect of it is huge. It's that interconnectivity of things that you start to realize that it breaks down walls and barriers of perceptions that you of reality, especially for people that are so narrow-minded, like that live in that box that like reality is this, and then all of a sudden, like, what, you take the blue pill or whatever it is, and you step out of that matrix, and then you can kind of like take a look at yourself and examine yourself in a new way, and it's profound, and I'm not saying that everybody that has a psychedelic experience the very first time they have one is going to walk away and be like, that changed my life, but intentions are everything. And so if you set intentions that, hey, I'm going to set space and deal with some of my shit and work through it, then I bet that's what comes out. I bet that's what you work through when you go through these psychedelic experiences. It's just kind of how it works. You get what you need.
So let's talk about the science of this. I mean, we're seeing study after study after study about mushrooms, about MDMA, about LSD. What does the science say?
How cool is this? I get this in the mail. This is the Disabled American Veteran magazine, and on the front cover this month, this is your brain on drug-assisted psychotherapy. So it's coming to the forefront. Science is catching up, and when science catches up, then the rest of society can go. They can drop their hand and go, okay, we can talk about it now. And I think veterans own a huge role in this and getting the conversation started. And this particular trial was for MDMA. That was a trial that was started on veterans, and I've actually met a couple of the veterans that have taken place on the trial. I'll feature one of those veterans. I mean, he's one of my boys on Facebook. That's Jonathan Lubecki, and he actually works up at the Capitol now in lobby efforts, trying to get laws changed and passed, and talk to the legislators about his experience and what his MDMA therapy was like. So the science is there. It's I don't know if science understands how it works, but it's like another one of those things that at some point in time we know that it's needed, and they don't care. Like, we don't care why. We just know that it is, and let's just explore that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter why it works. It works.
Right.
It works.
So they've been testing MDMA on vets for like years, haven't they?
A long time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I mean, this official trial. I mean, I think it talks about like the 60s when the initial studies were started to be done. This initial trial, however, the phase 1 of this clinical trial started back like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And now it just moved into the phase 3, which, if y'all know the FDA processes, the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then after phase 3, that's when they have to kind of turn it over to, if it's safe and effective, then they kind of have to sign off on it. So that's a big deal. Getting it to phase 3 means that it's going to get into more people's hands. It'll still be in selective clinics, but it'll be spread out to more places around the country. So some people can start getting these options right now. Yeah.
So when we look at where we are, even with medical marijuana, even not even recreational, right? Just medical, where we still have states of the country where medical marijuana is not accessible. It's not accessible for veterans. It's not accessible for cancer patients. It's not accessible for people with epilepsy. Even though we have the science, right? We know that this is something that is a functional medicine. How far do you think we are away from starting to see medical dispensaries in states that are carrying mushrooms and MDMA?
We're going to see, I will tell you right now, we will see psychedelic therapy in Texas before we see cannabis dispensaries. I know the political climate here, and I know what we're up against. because it's state by state basis. Texas did this really weird thing. I can't give you the exact history of it, but one of the cities tried to pass a drug referendum back in the day, like in the 80s. And the state government was like, oh, hell no. And they actually took voter initiative on drug laws away from Texas voters. So to me, actually a bigger issue at hand. We can keep fighting this on the state level, but we're so dependent on our politicians to step up and do the right thing. And we're so stuck in the good old boy system of Texas politics here. We're literally waiting for generation change, unfortunately. Unless we get our voter referendum back, I hate to say that because I know a lot of people working hard on this issue, but we're kind of stuck because Dan Patrick, our lieutenant governor, isn't going anywhere. He's not up for re-election this cycle. So we're going to have to go through another legislative session. And Texas politics is crazy. We only get one every 2 years and it only lasts 6 months. And when everything's done, it's done. You have to start all over again. And so with that being said, I mean, Texas is like the last domino. If we could get that one to drop, everybody else would go because New Mexico, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and now Mexico all have made some sort of efforts. And Texas is just like this island of prohibition that's still left. And so, but the reality is what it is. So we're waiting on a federal level for cannabis to get rescheduled. I mean, honestly, I think that's the right thing to do for them to go ahead and say, we know it has medicinal value, so we can no longer leave it at a Schedule 1. And, you know, there's a lawsuit pending. It's going to the Supreme Court with Alexis Portel and, you know, all this other crazy stuff. But it's just politics, and these things take time. And our sense of time and the political sense of time are not necessarily always on the same.
Well, right. And then with the pandemic and the shutdowns and now the protests and the current volatile situation, do you see that pushing that date back before we could even deal with things? Because right now we have nobody, you know, our elected representatives are fleeing the Capitol right now. They are trying to like find bunkers, right? So how long before we get some movement, do you think?
Well, my prediction pre-Rona has been and always will be that right when we get time for re-election, our president might have a hip pocket decision to make people like him, and legalizing and descheduling cannabis. He could write an executive order and have it done. And that would definitely put some smiles on people's faces. So it's going to be a political move at some point, and somebody's going to whip it out, and they're going to whip it out big. And hey,
I was hopeful for that.
I mean, being hopeful, positive, praying. This will help get people's mind off some stuff, and yeah, they're going to need something.
I mean, I was hopeful for that until I saw him pull out the Insurrection Act. Now I'm not so sure that he's going to make a reasonable, sensible call.
Well, I can never be sure. We can never be sure he's going to make a reasonable, sensible call. Sometimes he does. I mean, he like makes weird decisions, and sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, criminal justice reform. All right, we can get behind that. But then, you know, he plays to the audience at hand. So we got to hope the audience is the right audience at the time. Yeah.
Well, maybe, you know, people will be pissed off and he'll want to gain some points, and he'll do that, you know?
That's the hope, right?
Some brownie points, you know?
I mean, that's the hope. Like, part of me, like I said, like pre-show, in the back of my head, if there's a show, if you haven't seen it, it's called Revolution. The government uses nanotech and EMPs against its own people, and our leaders take off and hide at Gitmo, right? And let us kind of survive an apocalypse type situation. You know, part of me right now looking around, I'm like, wow, I wonder how long it's going to take them to release those fucking EMPs, right? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I was just telling one of my veteran brothers yesterday, I was like, I mean, if somebody just laid out a plan, they were like, look, we got plan A, B, and C. All right, y'all might not want to hear what we have to say, but plan A looks like, hey, everything goes back to normal. Hey, plan B looks like shit, Rona's getting really bad. We're going to have to do this lock, whatever it is, but at least people know. Keeping people in the dark is really, I mean, in the military, that's a big no-no. I mean, everything is need to know. So you're always somewhat in the dark, but any word that you can give the people to keep them going and understand that, there is still a mission, is beneficial to people. It's just good communication, good leadership skills. But I feel like we've lost the value in good leadership in this country. We value the straight shooter, like, he shoots from the hip. Well, you know what? Actually, maybe I need the guy with the discernible mouth that knows how to keep his mouth shut when he needs to and speak when he needs. Maybe we need that leader again. Or if we ever had it, I don't know.
Man, like, I'm not against a straight shooter if they're straight shooters trying to expose some corruption, right? If you're trying to, like,
there be a message behind your, whatever. Yeah, it's gotta be
right. I mean, the method matters, right? Method matters sometimes more than intent, sometimes more than shared outcome. Method matters.
Yeah, it does. It does. Especially nowadays with so much, just everybody in public spotlight all the time. So,
I mean, as a veteran, like, I know that we were taught some crowd control and some de-escalation tactics, and like, it's part of the training. So how do you feel that, on average, based on just what you're seeing right now, that police departments across the country are doing, what's their average grade for appropriate use of de-escalation tactics?
Funny, the unit that I was in, we specialized in riot control. And we were security forces and did riot control all over where they were rioting. They were rebelling in Liberia, stacking dead bodies in front of the U.S. Embassy, shooting, all kinds of crazy shit going on. And those Marines had to go out and run riot control. I wasn't there for that. I mean, but I just know because they were my Marines. They had to go out there and run riot control in front of the U.S. Embassy to keep it safe. And it's really tough. It's a tough job. I know I can't say, a lot of my Marines that did that job went on to be law enforcement later. And it's tough because I know they're caught in the middle of a lot of this too. And it's hard because I'm an empathetic person. So I empathize with them and I empathize with these other communities. And I can't, but their grade, honestly, it looks to be like an F. If what I've heard is true, one of the people that I know personally reported that he was in Dallas and they're standing on the sidewalk and getting pepper sprayed. They're provoking the crowd because and if that's completely true, then that is absolutely wrong.
That's a dangerous decision.
Your tactics from whether it is a show of force. That is a tactic. You're out in your armor, you're beating your shields, you're in unison, and you're making them show like we know what we're doing, and y'all aren't gonna want to really mess with us. But that's a show of force. That's to get them to back up and say, okay, let's think about what we're doing here. And there's absolutely a reason for people to peacefully protest, but at the same time, I've been maintaining like the only reason a peaceful protest works is because there's a threat of mob rule behind it. There's a threat like we the people will not stand. Like the dude or whatever. This will not stand. Well, that's the threat. That's the reality.
It's also a show of force, right?
It's the same as the police. Right. They use that same threat to get us to comply. So if people don't realize that and start having that open discussion, I'm not advocating for violence in any ways.
But like we were trained that the de-escalation is a tool that you use to get two sides to the table.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't see a table.
Because you don't want people get hurt. Always, even your own people. Cops get in, the drug war has affected more cop lives almost than civilian lives because they're caught in the middle of it just the same. It's no different. They get caught in the middle of this.
At some point though, like as a soldier, we all took that same oath, right? You took the same oath I took. And now we've got a president that is ordering active duty troops into states where they're going to be staring down National Guards troops who are defending their states' rights. I mean, how does that play out, man?
Yeah. I mean, I would have a hard time with that. Like, do you take that order?
Yeah, I couldn't take that order.
I mean, I was a corpsman, you know, like medic. So my role was non-combatant in the first place. And it's not that I'm a pacifist by any means.
Right.
But yeah, I couldn't turn on my own citizens. That's not the oath I took.
Nope, me either, man.
Yeah.
And so. I hope that all of our friends, joint friends who are enlisted, who are veterans who may be recalled, I hope everybody else is really taking a minute before that shit potentially happens to think about that, to think about what is your oath and what orders are you actually going to be willing to follow, what upholds your oath and what isn't, what doesn't. It's important.
Yeah. I totally agree. I say all the time that my oath never finished.
Right. There's no expiration date.
Big reason for why I do what I do. And so I still serve my country and I still serve my flag proudly, you know, but it means a little different. It means something different than it used to, but you know. So
when you look at the number of vets that you see suffering every day, and if you're actively involved in this work, I know we're talking about huge numbers, from PTSD, from inappropriate transition methods, which we see a lot, right?
Inappropriate, I mean, or lack thereof. I mean,
non-existent, right?
Yeah, non-existent, yeah.
I mean, how far do you see the work that you're doing with substances being able to reach?
Honestly, everybody I talk to in the world I live in, we're you know, maybe it's the medicine, maybe it's the meds, but we're all positive people. We all see that there is, and we've been kind of predicting this chaotic moment that we're in for a while. I mean, I can't say to the exact tune, but we all know that the world is on a verge of something huge, a big change. Psychology is changing as we know it. They finally realized that it was a pseudoscience for many years. And so they're having to go back and rewrite the book on a lot of stuff. And, you know, if any psychologist tells you that that's not true, then they're part of the problem. And they're having to realize that a lot of this is trauma-based. A lot of things that are being talked about, like what used to be considered personality disorders, are now being considered trauma, you know, complex PTSD, essentially. And as somebody with complex PTSD, I fucking get it. Like, I really do now. I didn't before, but now once you start understanding, like, where we started with epigenetics and how brain changes happen and how all these different things happen, when you get a complete picture of the science, then you can really start to get. So we're on the verge. Once people start to get this healing, you're going to see it. Everybody I know, and I'm not saying everybody I know that tries the meds comes out this way, but the people that get the healing walk out and they're like shouting from the rooftops, you know, oh my God, y'all have to try this, you know. You don't want to be like too pushy on people, like, go try ayahuasca in Peru. It only costs you $5,000, you know, and you'll puke your guts out. But it'll change your life, you know. No, there's a lot of therapies that are closer, and I mean, you can get in Mexico. Addiction is a huge thing. I mean, we're realizing how much trauma is tied into addiction at this point. And as a matter of fact, in my opinion, completely inseparable, right? So whenever somebody used to say, "Oh, addiction is hereditary," you've heard that your whole life, right?
Right.
That's because it's epigenetics. You weren't born an addict. That's bullshit, you know, but there were circumstances in your life epigenetically around you that pushed you towards that path. And not everybody understands exactly why. And we don't understand where these traumas come from sometimes. they might not be our own because they could have been handed down, from a narcissistic parent or all kinds of crazy shit. You're just everybody's dealing with, like I said, generations of this. So when you walk out of that door and you can unwind that trauma, and I always say, like, if given that knowledge, if you know that you can pass your trauma down to your children, right? Like for me, and my kids are grown, but whatever, but the environment that they're raised in, is a huge impact on them. So I can get myself better. So I'm not this angry, disgruntled vet that all these vets kind of like tend to wear as a badge of honor, like disgruntled vet, like stay away from me because you'll piss me off. And they're not, that's just acknowledging that you're dysfunctional, but not acknowledging what made you dysfunctional and how to get better and get past it. And for me, that's been a big part of it. It's like anger issues. I don't want my kid to grow up angry.
Right.
So I owe it to him. I owe it to the rest of America to get better. And so I think everybody does.
So people who want to help in the work that you're doing, who want more information, who want to help fund some lobbying efforts, how do they get a hold of you?
Oh, okay. Well, that's easy. I'm on Facebook. First and foremost, I'm always up there on the Facebook. I'm on advocacy work, page administrator for a Facebook page called Forever Sheepdog, where we're working on getting cannabis reform and plant medicines and working on changing the perspective of suicide and mental health issues, not just for veterans, but for the service-connected community as a whole. So first responders and their families and their wives and our families and our wives. And, we're not the only ones affected.
Right.
If I have PTSD, my wife has to deal with me. Trust me.
Right. And then everybody who has to deal with her has to deal with you.
Yeah. And the thing, it's all interconnected. And so you can check out that Facebook page and see some of the efforts. We'll be ramping up our legislative efforts coming into next year. However, personally, I own a business. So Greenside Total Wellness. You can go to greensidetw.com. You can reach me at info@greensidetw.com. Or hit me up on Facebook once again. What I'm trying to do with that business is profits are going to support lobby efforts and also natural healing modalities for veterans, people that are actually putting hands on vets. So I don't just work with these meds, but I also work in all kinds of energy work and Reiki, yoga, chiropractic, acupuncture, and with an organization called Vet Trip, which is an acronym that I couldn't tell you what it means, but TRIIP. But those are real people that are really helping vets right now in the legal means that we have necessary around us. The results are amazing. You get very, very much some of these same dynamic energy shifts that you can through psychedelic healing, through a session where they take you in. And I go and they do massage therapy, Reiki, tapping, aromatherapy, chiropractic, acupuncture, all in one session. You get like $550 worth of work all at once. It's great. And who doesn't like that kind of attention and pampering?
Right.
So, the only thing missing is somebody like filing your feet and stuff. So, but it's great. And I actually have seen the scientific evidence-based studies that have been done through UT Health San Antonio, where they've taken their results, the surveys, and they say, how did you feel before? Like shit. How do you feel now? Fucking great. These are real results that can be measured, that don't have to be studied by the FDA for years and years and years. So we can start working in those modalities. And then you can start looking at, like in Houston, we're going to be doing the decriminalization nature Houston chapter. There's some decrim nature chapters popping up around. Dallas has one, Denver, of course, decrimmed psilocybin mushrooms in Denver. Oakland followed suit. So we have more control on a local level, and we can start working in these local ways that can help start changing local laws. And Oh, and then I was going to say the profits from my business and what we're trying to do are going to go, directly to support those things. So buying from me, and what I have right now is just affiliation agreements with supplement companies. So you can go through my website to get to their stuff. It's all top notch, third party tested supplements, or I have a pure prescription supplements, and then also plant therapy essential oils, which are top brand. That's not a MLM type marketing scheme. They're a real like wholesaling type company that you can get.
It's not Young Living, is what you're saying.
And, I'm just whatever. There's good products out there. I'm not knocking it, but I have a legitimate business and I can sell legitimate.
So can people just come onto your website and make a donation?
Not yet, but I can't see why I can't add that feature soon. And then,
so look, man, if you're watching and you believe in this work, and I want to tell you,
inside tw.com to PayPal, that could happen.
Yeah, there you go. Now look, like I'm telling y'all, I believe in this work. As a veteran, this work is really important. So if you're watching and you believe in this work too, please, please, please go to the website, make a purchase, make a donation. If you're in Texas, if you're in an area where these decrim movements are popping up, reach out to Doc, try and get hooked up, show up. Lobbying requires bodies. It requires people who are willing to go get trained, learn what to say, go knock on the doors, go sit and meet with your representatives. That's what it requires. So, man, like reach out, be part of the solution. Doc will hook you up and give the man some money, man, because this shit costs.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm not trying to get rich doing this. I just want to help. I just want to help as many people as I can. I want to share the knowledge of what I learned. My long-term business plans are to open a facility and bring people into these modalities, whether it's through wellness travel or wellness real estate or whatever the case may be, but getting people in the door and active, because in the long run, I mean, part of my spiel is talking about the economics of it all. How, Dre heard me talk about how you can really be your own industry disruptor by learning your body and learning how it works and taking back control of your own healthcare. And so I think that's hugely important. And everything's a start. You got to get the trauma off your back first, though. That's step one.
So I know we're a little bit over time, Dre.
Yeah.
I don't know where Zach is.
He just wants us to close it out.
Okay, so we're just closing out. So it's all you, Mama.
All right, guys. I'm sorry that I'm not 100% mentally. There's just a lot going on, and
but you look great. Your hair looks fantastic. Your smile will light up a room. Like you got this, Mama. You do.
Well, Doc, it was so nice to talk to you again, and I will definitely be checking out your website and telling any vets that I know to seek alternative means of treatment to help themselves.
Absolutely. I'd love to come back and talk, and I obviously have, like you said, a lot to say. So.
Yeah, you've got to come back. And folks, if you're watching, be checking our page for links to Doc's stuff. Hit him out, help him out. You're not just going to help him out. You're going to help you out, and you're going to help out a whole lot of other people. It's a really good thing. It'll make you feel good. There's nothing wrong with feeling good, man. Seriously, like hit him up, check it out.
Nothing wrong with a little euphoria.
You guys will be happy you did it. All right. Next week, we've got Ken Woolman.
Ken's coming on.
So we will see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right. Thank y'all.